The finals frontier is finally upon us. With just 5 days remaining until the end of the regular season, the margins could not be tighter and the stakes much higher. Only victory will do for Brisbane, while for Sydney FC, a win or draw can secure their return to finals football and will all but lock down 5th place on the table. And let's get a check of the team news for this all-important round 25 clash. Just the one change for Nick Green from the trip across the Tasman. He has pushed left back Noah Smith to the bench and replaced him with Jordan Courtney Perkins. Taras Gamulka has played all 10 matches for the Roar since his arrival from Melbourne City. He brings up game number 50 in the Isuzu UTE League. Nikola Milejuznic scored the opener last time these sides met, but if he is to have a similar impact, he's going to have to do so from the bench. No surprises for Steve Corica's Sydney. It's an unchanged side from that big win over Perth, captained by Alex Wilkinson, who will tonight play his 600th club match in professional football. He stands alongside Scott McDonald, Kevin Muscat and Liam Reddy as the only men's players with an Australian National League career of more than 20 years. Max Burgess leads the assists for the Sky Blues this season with 4. He'll be hoping to celebrate with some more in his 100th A-League men's match. It's been reported this week that Nick Green is not a contender for the permanent Brisbane Roar job, with former Adelaide and Melbourne Victory boss Marco Kurtz the front runner ahead of Hayden Fox and Ross Aloisi. But that isn't phasing Green, who is keen to raise the Roar to an unlikely finals berth. He hasn't Henry Hoare come into his own at the back end of the season. Max Burgess, he's burst back into the kind of form we saw when he was at Wellington and then Western United. And Jez Lofthouse, a favourite of Nick Green since he's come to coach the side. Very limited opportunities until Green arrived. Now he's started 6 of the last 7. And Anthony Caceres, just 30 years of age, already up to 224 appearances in the A-League. So it's win or bust for Brisbane against a Sydney side looking to lock in finals football. And Andy Harper, this one should be an intriguing showdown in the Sunshine State.
Very wet Sunshine State tonight, Ben. Good evening to you. Certainly Sydney building a mini case for themselves in recent weeks. And just to repeat pre-match comments, I'm not sure there's a lot of teams in front of them who'll be relishing the thought of playing against Sydney in a finals match. The Brisbane are going to be more than nuisance value. I can see them getting something out of this. And how good to be back at Suncorp. A fitting return for such a big match on Anzac Day Eve.
And you can hear the home fans loving being back here. 3rd match here this season. They had that 0-0 draw with Macarthur back in round 1 and a 2-0 win. I should say a 2-0 loss to Melbourne City in round 2. They actually haven't scored at Suncorp Stadium this season. So they want to break that drought as the rain falls here at Suncorp Stadium. There will be some showers coming throughout the evening.
There's good spirit in this Brisbane team.
And they've won their last 3 at home. Lolly bearing down on goal. And they'd love an early goal, Sydney FC, just to silence the Den, who are making plenty of noise, and they're going to continue to do so while Brisbane are causing headaches for Sydney FC.
It's just so good to be back at Brisbane's #1 venue. Lolly, the danger man. I've got a few Sydney, but his form has been so consistent this year.
The other end of the ground to ensure Wellington were able to get themselves back level. Lofthouse. Allowed to shoot, and it dipped on Redmayne. He had to be quick, sprawling down to his right. Jez Lofthouse is full of confidence at the moment, and isn't it great to see, Harps?
Well, a natural dribbler of the football. He on one side, Henry Hoare on the other. I love the emergence of these two. And this is Jez Lofthouse's time. He's been a slow burner at A-League level. It was a long route to get to the A-League.
Gamulka pinches it. And now Hingett is able to scoop it back towards the middle. O'Shea getting involved, and that loops into the grasp of Redmayne. There's Joe Lolly. And Ryan Grant gets there first. Max Burgess just thwarted by Aldred, and then gives away the free kick on Jordan Courtney-Perkins. But that's the best period of the match for the Sky Blues so far.
A couple of beautiful reverse passes. This is the one that started it. From Lolly, and a nice cutback from Ryan Grant.
Joel King. Back-to-back starts for him. First time he's been involved in starting sides for the Sky Blues in consecutive weeks since he's come back. As Mack and Burgess should have at least asked a question of Jordan Holmes.
A couple of good incursions recently, maybe Brisbane. They're starting to lose their grip. Sydney's starting to find a bit of football. Max Burgess in possession in the penalty area is not a good sign for the Roar. It's the give and go. It sort of fortuitously falls to Burgess, but he wasn't on top of his game when it came to the finish.
Sydney will be really happy with how things are going at the moment. Brisbane haven't really created anything of note for at least a quarter of an hour, maybe longer. Lolly and Bratton bending it up over the top of Jordan Holmes. And now King. Mack, who has 4 in 3 across all competitions. He may have another! Robert Mack! In white-hot form at the moment, the Slovak. And Sydney FC have worked their way into this match. And now they find themselves in front through a beautifully worked move.
Well, great players make things look really easy, and this Harvey Norman replay will be a great example. Joel King retrieves the ball. Mack squares up the defenders. And this is surgical and simple. And it's please. Rob says to Joe, "Nurse, pass me the scalpel." And he just slides it through. 1-0. What a beautiful bit of football.
Poetry in motion on the Harvey Norman replay. 5 in 4 across all competitions. Isn't it funny that Goldrout, going into international duty, scores for Slovakia against Bosnia and Herzegovina. He comes back, scores a double against Western United, grabs one against Perth, and now he's got another one against Brisbane Roar. Grant knocking it to Adam Lafondra, who's scored in his last 2. Links with Mack. Lolly! And Jordan Holmes, not for the first time this season, keeping Brisbane Roar alive.
Well, that was well worked from Sydney, and it all came from that lack of energy from Brisbane in the press. Complete opposite diagonal end of the field. Sydney's right fullback position. They had a chance to try and put Sydney under pressure. They didn't. And it must be 15 or so passes later, going from one flank to the other, culminating in this shot from Joe Lolly, and which required a very good save from Jordan Holmes.
His goal is the difference. Another one for him, and he goes to double figures for the season. And Lafondra has found himself free of Scott Neville. Just one loss in the last 4, 2 wins and a draw across the last month of football for Brisbane Roar. They've been good. And Gamulka is in on goal, straight into the chest of Redmayne. And now O'Shea. That pass misguided. Ingot had to wheel around and find Truant. Could that give Brisbane a lift? Gamulka in match number 50. He's never scored in the Isuzu UTE League. He's probably never been closer than that moment there. Horse pass read by Bratton.
It was a great chance this from Gamulka. Beautiful movement off the ball. Look, 3 players running on different angles. And Gamulka just didn't realise how much time he had. It was a pretty bland effort.
Well, he's gone. So the physio said Robert Mack is done, and maybe the heavy pitch has caused him an issue here with the hamstring. Lolly has Segacic and Lafondra in the box. Sits up for Burgess. Again, a chance that. A difficult one.
Yeah, a very difficult chance that for Max Burgess. Again, nice play from Sydney. They're really finding the space nicely. That bobbly touch is really difficult.
O'Shea's delivery. Decent. And still a chance for Brisbane. Stjepovic couldn't get around. Wasn't that well dealt with by the Sky Blues, but in the end it's in the arms of Redmayne.
He's been a great servant of the club. Really do them well if he can find some of his better football. He's still got plenty there.
And that could be the final act of this first half. And it's Sydney FC. Right now, securing a spot in the finals after missing last season. Steve Corica's men in pole position to lock down 5th place. Scott Neville and Brisbane Roar, they are going to have to produce a couple of goals in the second 45 minutes at least if they want to keep alive their hopes of making it into the top 6. Half-time at Suncorp Stadium. Brisbane Roar 0. Sydney FC 1. Welcome back to Suncorp Stadium. It's the penultimate round of the Isuzu UTE League. And Brisbane Roar need at least 2 goals if they are to find their way into an unlikely final spot. And we're back underway in the second half. Brisbane Roar, they need to turn the foot to the floor in this second half and find something, Andy Harper, against Sydney FC.
Well, there's no point waiting around. They need to try and revisit the opening 20-odd minutes of the first half, where I thought they were excellent. But still, the score with just a single goal separating them. With the bounce of a ball or one moment of magic. And Taris Gamulka in front next time might do better. He had a great chance and all things could have been level. So as strong as Sydney were in their finish, and they played some really good stuff, they're starting to build a head of steam, Sydney FC. Brisbane are by no means out of it, but they've got 45 minutes to confirm their immediate future as a finals aspirant, or else they can start planning their holidays.
Isn't it just wonderful to see the Den absolutely packed here at Suncorp Stadium, making plenty of noise. Can they erupt further here with a Brisbane equaliser? O'Shea clipping, Rodwell away, only as far as Loftus, and it took a deflection. It favoured Andrew Redmayne though. Neville finds Hingett. Kai Truan and Gamulka flicking it up to Hingett. Wilkinson, one and O'Shea. What a way that would have been to make it goals in 7 consecutive matches.
A bad slice, but chances are coming for Brisbane. Need to really take a lot of confidence from this. So they're not able to clear, just an ineffective header, certainly by his standards, from Alex Wilkinson.
Where Jez Lofthouse, if he was just a bit more precise. Rodwell's header falls to Bratton. He goes back to Redmayne for a moment. Jay O'Shea thought he was in the game.
Big opportunity this for Brisbane. They've got to seize it. They've got to see it. Look, Sydney are very flat-footed. Even now, as they look to reset, Andrew Redmayne puts his hands to the sides. Where are we going with this, guys? Now, Brisbane need to maximum pressure here now.
And after soaking up all the pressure, can Sydney FC pounce here? Segicic making a nuisance of himself. Bratt finding Wilkinson, and now Rodwell. What an opportunity that was for Jack Rodwell to score his first goal for the Sky Blues. And Sydney give possession back to Brisbane. Lofthouse has Stepovic and Hoare. Lofthouse looking for Stepovic. Redmayne paws it away. And now O'Shea. Redmayne again. Andrew Redmayne coming to the fore. The salmon wiggle for Sydney FC comes up trumps. And Lafondra finding Bratton. Sydney FC maybe fortunate there not to give away the free kick, and Lolly's touch was heavy. Brisbane, they are coming for Sydney FC here.
Well, the salmon wiggle twice. Yummy, yummy. How about these saves? I mean, his footwork was appalling the last time the ball came to him, but his glove work here is expert. Look, that's brilliant. Really brilliant from Redmayne.
The regular season, that is. It would be a Sydney derby first week of the finals. Get the popcorn out. Imagine that. Lolly sending Gamulka one way and then the other. And Hines has to get there quickly and did. Segicic went in, and Tom Aldred not best pleased with the contact on his goalkeeper.
Nice from Lolly. Here's the shift to make the original space. Segicic is within his rights. With the deflection, it really plays him into the consideration here.
Neville, Lofthouse, Hoare, missed it at the first attempt, at the second attempt, at the third. Is it a penalty? No! It's going to be a corner. No one in Suncorp Stadium except the Cove, maybe, can believe how it's not a penalty, but I'm sure the VAR is going to get a magnifying glass out on this.
Well, Henry Hoare just couldn't find his feet. Lofthouse in behind. It's a beautiful pass. Clever, clever cutback. And a one swipe, two swipes. Trying to trip the light. Fantastic, but he just trips.
Wilkinson went in halves. Is there calls here for a penalty?
I still haven't seen claims realistic. I think Wilkinson got the ball. Great chances for Brisbane. Henry Hoare's been terrific this season, really emerging.
Burgess intercepted by Aldred. Now Armiento leaving it short on Gamulka. Lolly has Lafondra. And Adam Lafondra scores in 3 straight matches, and Sydney FC, they're off to the finals now. And it's lights out for a brave Brisbane Roar.
Well, geez, Ben, after watching Adelaide-Perth last night, you've gone off, writing Brisbane off with 15 to play. But on the Harvey Norman replay, this is why there's not many teams who'll be wanting to play Sydney in the finals. They've been under the cosh against a very brave Brisbane in this second half. But when good players look to flick the switch, they're just lethal when in form. Well, Lolly's been in form all season, and Lafondra's finding his. Look out, everybody. From nothing to 2-0. Fantastic goal from Sydney FC.
Could they produce a Monday night miracle? Armiento flipping it up in the air, King away. Knowles brings it down. He goes down in the box. O'Shea has a strike on goal. Knowles is slow to get to his feet. O'Shea. O'Shea low and just a dribbler. Picked up by Andrew Redmayne. Sydney have been ruthlessly efficient. Redmayne is going to let it trickle across to Armiento, who's one-on-one here with Grant. Courtney Perkins. And now Knowles! And it's going to be a free kick on the edge of the box here for Brisbane.
This is going to be really interesting if Brisbane can make this count. They deserve a goal, Ben.
They certainly do. Jay O'Shea, Armiento. And it is O'Shea, comes off the wall. It's a corner for Brisbane Roar. Remembering they need 3 goals. They need 3 or it's season over. Sydney are back in the finals. Back-to-back wins for them. And a huge 3 points on the road at Suncorp Stadium. Robert Mack making it 5 in 4. And then Adam Lafondra goals in 3 consecutive matches. Both of them now have 9 for the season. And Steve Corica's side, a 2-0 victory. Brisbane Roar, they threw everything at his team. But Andrew Redmayne in goal. He stood up in the big moments for his 62nd clean sheet in the Isuzu UTE League. And isn't he going to be such a key man for the Sky Blues come the finals with his experience in high-pressure situations. Full-time at Suncorp, Brisbane Roar 0, Sydney FC 2. Sydney almost squaring the ledger in the head-to-heads between these two teams. Brisbane leading at 19-18 now with 18 draws.